Hello, my DevNation friends. I hope you are doing well. We are here with Edson. Other people will join as soon as they will be available, because some are still doing presentation right now. And hi, Edson. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Yeah,
And what about you, Sebi?
yeah,
You in
yeah,
code?
yeah. I'm doing great. It's almost holiday, not yet, but and yeah. Here we are again for a last show of the year. It's the second one because we started now 18 months ago in August 2020. And this year we had a lot of show as well. And I will do a quick recap of the show in 2021, and then we will do a recap speaking about technologies and stuff. Again, let me check. Please make this session as much as interactive as possible. Drop your questions, your remarks. um yeah, so it's working. You confirm me? That's because on my side it crashed, but
Oh no, I can see here people are on YouTube.
okay,
Yes, please post your questions, comments. We would love to have your feedback.
yeah, okay, awesome. So you know what, let me do a quick recap of the show 2021. Let me share my screen because I want to share some screenshots. Let me do that right now. Okay, so we should enter now. I have to put it on the screen. Let me do that. Okay, we should be in inception mode. Wow. Okay. Hey, Stefan. Hey, Leandro. Okay, so what I want to show you. Let me go here. No, not my cluster. Let me go here. So we started last year for the second year of the show. It was in January, and my first guest was Bruno Borges from Microsoft. We had a lot of fun. He explained to us how much Microsoft was using Java. Um, Also internally, like the whole Azure subscription system is all based on Kafka, which is based on Java. Okay, so it was a really nice discussion, and so we had a show every 2 weeks. And at one point, my connection was really too bad. Today it should be good because now I have fiber, yay! But at one point, I was using my phone to do my shows, and I realized, let me just check that people are. I just realized that in my garden, the connection was way better than in my office. So I say, why not? Let's do the show in the garden. And that was the start of a series of shows from my garden. And here's just, I pause on this view because that was how I was holding my microphone. Okay, using how do you call it? A palm too. And that was the best I could find to hold my microphone. It was really funny because yeah, people were not expecting, the guests were not expecting that I was in the garden, and I had a lot of fun. And right behind there's a pool, and some people made a joke and say, hey, Sebi, why don't you do a show from the pool? And it started as a joke, and at one point I said, okay, let's do it. So later in June, the 17th of June, I did a whole show from the pool. The guest was Matt Rabel, and I did it with Matt because Matt is a friend, and I could explain to him that we will do the show from my pool, because I wouldn't do that with a random guest, that I don't know really well. But with Matt, it was totally okay. And so yeah, that was a show from the pool. I even went for a swim, and I came back, and yeah, it was really funny. And last thing that I want to show you here, that was really funny. Let me share you this anecdote. So in July, that was the last show before the summer break. My guest was Anna. Okay, and some of you might know that now Anna joined the team. Okay, she joined in August. And actually, when I did the show, when I did the interview, I already knew that she was joining the team, of course, but I was not allowed to say it. We didn't want to make it public yet. Okay, so we were doing an interview. She was the guest. It was awesome. By the way, all those shows, you can see them back on our YouTube channel. There's a playlist for the show. Okay, so I really invite you to, yeah, if you can watch them all, but watch this one with Anna, where she speaks a lot about architecture and stuff like that. But it was really funny. And so she joined the team, and for 2 or 3 times, she replaced me as host because I was traveling or I was doing something else. And so now Anna is also sometimes the host. And the last show was with Carlos Santana from IBM from the Knative project, and Anna was the host. And yeah, so thank you for that, Anna. I think she will join. Maybe she's already there. I don't know. I'm blind here. I just see my screen. I will come back to the WeStream stream. She was giving a presentation just before at JConf. I think it's and you were also giving a presentation there. Let me go back. Let me stop. Remove my screen share for now. Okay, so that's right, Edson. You were also at the conference today, no? At JConf with Anna, or didn't? I I
That's
can.
me. I was muted. Yeah.
Oh, you was muted. I was afraid
Yeah.
it was muted.
Yeah. No, yeah, I didn't join JConf yet, but I have to be there in 33 minutes, so I
Oh,
have
oh
to
yeah, exactly.
get to leave the show a bit early for that.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, awesome. Let me check a bit the chat there. We have Tuni TV. Oh yeah, Tuni. Yeah, you are a regular attendee of the show. So thank you so much for attending every time. So we had a great year. It was a lot of fun, and of course next year we continue with other new guests. And as always, when we can, we play a game at the end. We do some live demos, and yeah, that's it for me for the recap of the show. And so for this last edition in December, we don't have a guest. Well, we decided to bring the whole team. Well, for now, it's just Edson and me. But to take a look a bit at 2021, what were the technologies that were really a hit? Were there some technologies that were a flop, that were disappointing? And also take a look at 2022. What will be the new buzzy techs that will well shine or not? So that's also where I need you from the audience. So please share your thoughts. Edson, maybe you can start with what you maybe give your recap of 2021. Maybe we can divide it in different categories. Let's talk about maybe about well, we are Java developers. Maybe about programming Java. How is Java doing? How was Java doing 2021?
Hmm. No, a lot of things happen in the Java world. I can see Java growing strong. And what's interesting is whenever we travel or we talk to people, you can see that the Java audience usually it's a bit older. Not that we're old, actually quite the opposite. We're still young, but we can see that we've left the college quite a few years ago. But I was really happy to be able to this year to be able to share some thoughts, saying, well, Java is different. So the Java from 2021 is very different from the Java from 20 years ago. And talking to some younger developers, I was able to show them that yes, we have some very interesting stuff to show you, and I believe some lighter frameworks, just as Quarkus and other ones that are appearing right now, they truly represent the new stuff for Java. And of course, with Java, I know some people are still running Java 5, and a lot of us are stuck in Java 8. But and we even have I had a tech talk last week talking about the latest
With
version of
Gunnar,
Java, Java 17. So we have lots of stuff to celebrate regarding the Java new features, the Java ecosystem. So yeah, Java is doing well, and I think it will keep doing well.
yeah,
Of course, yeah. When some people say that Java is declining, I think that it's just natural. If you remember, I think I saw a white paper in 2001. 95% of the business transactions over the internet were running on top of Java. So when you reach 95%, the only way for you is to go down because no other technology will be so dominant in the coming years. So, but still, we're still declining, but doesn't mean that we're small. I think Java is still doing great, is still doing well.
Yeah. And when you say Java is the people tell you Java is declining. When I started working back in 2004, I was already hearing that, oh, Java is dead, Java is dead. And, well, you were back in 2020 21, and yeah, I think Java and the whole JVM ecosystem is stronger than ever. Um, well, we had some great stuff like Quarkus, of course, but also the other ones, Micronaut and Spring Boot, that is also try to catch up the great things that Micronaut and Quarkus is doing. So that is really a really sane competition that we're having, and that benefits to the whole Java ecosystem. And I'm really happy about that. And I think the crazy things will. It's just the beginning. Java is there for a long time. Well, Java and the whole ecosystem, because I don't know if there are some Kotlin users here in the audience, but yeah, Kotlin is also doing great. But yeah, I'm checking here the chat. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really confident, and yeah, of course, uh, Quarkus is also it was already there in 2020. Okay, it was already great, but there have been so many new additions, and with Quarkus 2.0, I think the developer experience is taken to a next level, really, with the dev services, all kind of. It's such a pleasure. I'm not saying that because it's a Reddit sponsored project. If it was someone else, I would say exactly the same, but it's such a pleasure to work with Quarkus. Still this week I was working. I'm working on operators in Java written with Quarkus, and I know Stefan is there. I'm doing that for a presentation next week. And Stefan will be there, and it's such a pleasure that you're working on a Kubernetes operator, and the project is just running locally on your machine, and you have all the benefits of the dev mode, so the live reload, and you're just coding, hitting save, and looking on your cluster what happens with your operator, and yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, let me see. So people are loving Java. Oh, look, I can put some chats now here. Like Tony said, Java I love. Yeah. And Tony, you also said security. Oh, before that, let me bring Anna to the stage. There she is. Hey,
Hello.
hello. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm fine, thank you. I've
Yeah.
been to the
Uh,
JConf and joining you now.
yeah. How did your presentation went? Great.
I'm great.
Yeah.
It was a good feedback from the public, and I like that people know where my GitHub repo is
Okay.
before
Yeah. Awesome.
before me sharing it, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Um, so cool. Just to give you we were doing a quick recap, and we started with Java. And I was thinking, I was asking Edson and the audience, what do you think about Java in 2021? How did Java did and the whole ecosystem around? We were saying it was awesome, etc. And I was speaking about Quarkus, of course. And maybe you want to share your thoughts on the Java ecosystem, and still some stuff happened in 2021. Well, Java 17 and Quarkus 2.0 and the whole native GraalVM stuff. So just to tell me whatever
Okay,
you.
so from my point of view, well, besides what was already said about Quarkus and the amount of changes that were brought thanks to the version 2.x, because like we have so many things with continuous testing and the services that makes our life easier. Looking at Java, I think it was great to see both the short-term release version, like Java 16, preparing us for Java 17. And I think that, there's been a lot done with the Java 17. I mean, at least from my current usage of it, I see that frameworks and other libraries are more ready for Java 17 than comparing it to the experience that was like a few years ago when I was looking into Java 11. I think that everything was like everybody was get set ready. Also with the IDEs. So from that point of view, I feel that it has been a great year, and and that of course the community has done an awesome job in doing all this, and also the folks that worked on the language and all the libraries and frameworks. So kudos to everyone involved. So
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And I just got a note. Alex is about to join us as well.
yeah, the whole team.
The whole team. Yeah, I think Natale is on PTO. I think. And
Yes.
Elder just sent me a message. He couldn't join. He won't be able to join. But yeah, at least most of the team will be there. Yeah, thanks. And I'm just checking the chat because I'm asking for people about stuff. So I see Tony here. He mentioned security. Well, maybe we can speak a bit about security. And he also mentioned DevSecOps. I saw at some point here. So I put his comment there, and there's also a nice comment from Leandro about junior teams. Well, we can come back on that later on how 2021 is for a junior and to learn Java. If you're new to the Java world, how does it go? And again, please watch our playlist. We had a lot of guests that gave us a lot of tips on how to learn new stuff, especially if you are a junior. And I see Alex is there. Let me bring Alex to the more we are. Look at this.
Hello.
Hey, Alex.
Hello.
How are
So
you?
finally, good. I mean that some kind of family semi-urgent things.
Oh yeah,
but it's like, but it's not. I mean, it's not that death or alive thing. But
okay,
but
family first. Great to have you on the show. And actually, it was a long time we didn't have even a meeting together. So it's been a long time I didn't see you. Great to see you.
Let's not have the meeting here.
Yeah, let's have the meeting. Let's have a team meeting. No, I'm joking. Okay, so Alex, we were discussing a bit. We were doing a recap of 2021, and we started to speak about the Java ecosystem. What happened in 2021 regarding the Java ecosystem? So Java 17, Quarkus 2.0. Other great thing. Is there anything that you, if you hear Java and 2021, is there one thing that you would like to share with us?
Well, maybe I would say that micrometer thing. I mean, I know that it's not from 2021, but I guess that at least for me, the 2021 was when I just get into the radar and I just start working with it. And for all of you that you don't know exactly what is micrometer, you can think that it's like SLF4J, right? It's for logging, but it's the same, but for metrics. It's like a wrapper around all the metrics libraries out there, like Prometheus and so on. And then you can always use the same API. And depending on the implementation that you add in the class path, then you get one kind of metrics or another one.
Yeah.
So I would say that maybe in the Java ecosystem, this is also a good library.
Okay.
At least for me in the 2021.
Yeah. So micrometer. That's interesting. Let me share the link in the chat for people. If people don't know about micrometer, I put the link there. Of course, we have a nice extension in Quarkus for that as well, and we also have some. Well, next year we will maybe have a deep dive that is using more the micrometer with. Anna working on that.
Well, I can always, I have my advanced thingies with micrometer since I like customizing a lot the meters and and working with those. There's an article of mine on DZone around that, if anybody's interested. Like, it's an older one. Definitely micrometer is a great tool for observing the metrics, custom metrics that we're working when it comes to our application, because not everything is like defaults. And it's good to look at the JVM and the CPU usage and the memory and what is like available for default, because there's also some defaults when we're working with metrics. But it's also good to have our own metrics and our own traces, because that's how we improve the apps, right? If we know what's going on at every endpoint and every interaction in our app, like where's some business logic that's heavier for us to handle, it's good also to measure that.
Yeah. And I'm looking for a blog post from Oh, I forgot her name. She's working on me
Aaron?
on Erin. She wrote this year a really nice blog post where she took as example dungeons game, and she explains how you can integrate metrics if you were planning to code that. And I have to find it. If someone finds it back, I'm searching right now, but I can find it. But it was a really nice blog post, and that if the whole metrics stuff is a bit abstract for you, well, by reading this blog post, that will help you a lot. I will find it before the end of the show and share it. And
Oh, it's nice that we're talking about micrometer or micrometer. Uh, Different people say it in a different way. Because I believe that two very strong trends that are happening right now and will continue in 2021 is the first observability. Like metrics are part of the observability stuff. So we see a lot of different efforts regarding observability. How can you have like this general overview of what's happening in your system, and at the same time, when you need to dig into the metrics into what's happening in the system, you're able to do that. So a lot of different companies are working on that. So observability will keep moving forward. DevSecOps, like dependency scanning or cluster security, this kind of thing. This will keep happening because a lot of hackers are requesting like bounties to be able to like kidnap your data or your information, and they ask money, some bitcoins to give your data back. So more companies will be investing in security because they want to prevent that. And I also like to point out, so we can discuss later, because I just have a couple of minutes left, is that we might have notes like we already had Eclipse Chef for quite some time as a web IDE, but this year we had the GitHub Codespaces. Is that the name?
Yeah.
And I think one last week or 2 weeks ago, JetBrains released Fleet, which is another web-based IDE. So we waited for this to happen for years, and I think that in 2021 it happened, and I expect it to improve a lot in the next year.
yeah. And so you mentioned code spaces, but there's another one which is really popular and that I tried out myself is Gitpod. Gitpod,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive stuff. I play with it, and yeah, you it's yeah. I love code ready workspaces as well, but honestly, I was impressed by Gitpod. So okay. Anyway, let me see. I'm checking the chat. So yeah, that's thank you, Alex, to bring up this micrometer and this whole metrics. Indeed, that was started to be really important in 2021. I'm thinking next year it will be even more important. And let me see. Should we talk about the cloud now?
Uh,
Or maybe because there was DevSecOps mentioned. DevSecOps, it's really hard for me to say. Is that something that's for sure that was something that we were hearing a lot in 2020? DevSecOps will be the next big thing. The we had DevOps and now it's DevSecOps. Did that happen in 2021? Was that a role that we saw? To be honest, maybe I missed it, but yeah, I think we're still trying to define what exactly it means.
I think it's going to be, besides, the difficult to pronounce acronym, or how would like say the method, and the new kind of methodology where like we're not just doing like DevOps and like developers and operations. We're all getting along. We're also looking at security. But I think that people were I think many organizations were like doing this, even though they didn't have the term. But now they have a fancy term to define this. However, security, as Edson said, it is going to continue to be one important aspect when working at application level, at infrastructure level, and so on. Because, we're most of the time still working remote and we're using a lot of services. So we need to protect our data. And probably this year, myself and many like me were also affected by this situation where different databases were attacked, and personal information is got out. And it's not very pleasant to get that notification like, hey, your personal info got somewhere. To be honest, I think that probably the implementation, the teams that are, working on applications are going to be like looking more into security. But I think there are also going to be more tools probably around to help for this area as well, like to make our life easier and the experience easier
Yeah,
when it comes
exactly.
to security.
That's a great point. I think that was the shift that I saw happening a bit. Well, speaking about shift, the shift left. So giving to the developers also the responsibility of security, because security is a matter of everyone, and that's, well, the advocate from SNCC explained that very, very well. But so when you are in your CD line, if there are security issues, well, it's shift left, and it's to the developer to take care of making his container more robust, or maybe even his Java code. Maybe there are some tools that can detect some potential vulnerabilities, and so I think it's a matter of everyone, and that's why there won't be just one role of DevSecOps. Security is something that must spread out in the whole organization.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's DevOps after all, because there is DevSecOps, Dev Test Ops, Dev Data Ops. At the end, we will say Dev Data Test Sec Ops, right? So it's just at the end, it's just ops. And yeah, regarding the security, and I mean, here we could stay talking a lot about it, but one of the things that I would like to mention is when you want to secure your secrets. Basically, it's like how you can manage the database password, right? Because then you can lose your data because maybe someone gets access to your backups, but maybe because they got access to your database and then just bulk all data. And I like to say that, and this is something that it's pretty, I would say it's old, but nowadays it's becoming very popular, is that the best password is the one that there is no password. Because if there is no password, then there is nothing that you can lose. And in this sense, HashiCorp Vault is really a cool stuff there, right? Because yeah, I know that there is a password, but the password is not managed by the application, nor by the developers, nor by the ops. It's just automatically created and renewed for example, every 5 minutes, and you never notice which is the password. It's all the things managed automatically. And I think that's one of the great things about 2021, 2022, and it's a starting getting this approach to your pipeline and start not managing passwords, and at least manually, right? And then you will.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm watching also the chat, and I'm seeing that people are saying that we should have like pillars for the way that we're doing things. Again, I think 2022. I hope to bring more practices in terms of development practices, because probably that's something that teams have done for many years. But now that many tools are so robust in terms of using them, regardless if it's application or infrastructure level, I think that 2022 is going to be the year where we're going to be even more inventive with our practices. And regardless of like how inventive the hackers will be, I think us, the good guys, the developers, are still going to win in inventing ways to protect our apps. So kudos for us, and I hope that it's going to be a plan. But I really hope to see more practices around how to do things with what you have, and yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Let's talk about serverless.
Yeah.
Because and Kate.
Yeah. Oh, and Edson, are you still there? Yeah, you.
I am here, but now that you mentioned, I think I have to drop because I have to make sure that all my clusters are
Yeah,
working.
exactly. So.
Yeah,
So
but thank you. I would just like to wish you all great holidays. So it was amazing to see you here this entire day of DevNation. You have great people here, Sabi, Alex, Anna. It is a great team. And yeah, and I hope to see you all next year in our next DevNation offerings. Oh, don't forget, next week we still have a Tech Talk. Then we're done. Then you're only back in late January.
I will mention that before the end. I will do a recap of what is happening next week. We have DevNation Day India as well, so I will mention all of this before we close up. And thank you, bye. Anna, yes, I want to speak about serverless, but before we have a challenge. Gunnar sent us a challenge in the chat.
Oh my god.
He says for me, but let's all do it. Can Sebi say DevSecOps makes dev less oops 3 times in a row? Okay, I start and we all try to do it. Okay, DevSecOps makes dev less oops. DevSecOps makes dev less oops. DevSecOps makes dev less oops. Your turn, Anna.
Okay. DevSecOps makes devs less oops. DevSecOps makes devs less oops. DevSecOps makes dev less oops. Hope I got it. Gunnar, what are you doing to us? Your turn, Alex.
DevSecOps makes dev less oops. DevSecOps makes dev less oops. DevSecOps makes dev less oops.
Wow, I think we managed it pretty well, Gunnar.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gunnar? Great job. Yeah, exactly. That was what I was thinking. Awesome. That's good. That was funny. So, serverless. Anna, you brought it up.
Yeah, I think that, well, since we had our guest here at the show, Carlos Santana, and people are probably wanting a second a second session with Carlos, given his experience not only with Knative, but with other tools as well and other technologies. Well, I think this was, I've seen that was the year of Knative. Not sure if it's me who's like following Knative more in the last months, but it feels like there's been a lot of innovation. I mean, Knative reached its maturity version, so that was like a big achievement. And a big statement to the community that is here to stay, here to be improved, and becoming one of the tools that we should be looking to when we're like looking to create architectures that are event-driven. And for me as a Java developer, it kind of makes the dream come true for like handling even the Java part with together with the serverless lighter, and also everything at Kubernetes level. I mean, it's probably another dream of mine since 2018 when I saw Knative first, like have everything with Kubernetes. So from that point of view, I think that's it's a great thing. I've seen also there are some other serverless offerings that have improved and have also add more to their developer experience. But if we're like just trying to be agnostic and keep it at the kube level, I think Knative is here to bring us closer to the serverless experience from inside Kubernetes and optimize our workloads even better. And that's it from my side. And there's another tool that tool technology that I would like to mention, but I would rather give you the opportunity to share more, and I'll leave mine to the end.
Okay.
Also, in the 2021 world.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that, for example, Knative was released version 1.0 just maybe 1 month ago, more or less. So it means that it's pretty mature and it's ready for production. And one of the things that I love about Knative is that we deliver a lot of talks about Knative and serverless. And when people see that technology in action, they said, "Oh, I want to start using it," because it's, let's say, pretty transparent. You don't need to do anything different that you've done before. So it's still your containers, but now they automatically can scale down to 0, which probably for maybe for some kind of business like Facebook, you've got traffic all the day. But in most of the business where you've got maybe traffic only during daylight, probably this kind of solutions is what you need for saving or for cutting costs. of or operational costs or infrastructure costs, right? So I think that Knative is a really cool technology to be adopted in Kubernetes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I love Knative. You know it, both of you. And the skill to zero is nice, but I like to say it's almost a nice to have. Nice to have. What I like with Knative serving, so we can discuss eventing maybe after. It's just it's really serverless, and when we say serverless, it's not necessarily skill to zero. It's just abstracting the fact that we are. What we want is push a workload to production or on a cluster. And we have to make that as easy as possible. And with Kubernetes, it's already more or less the case, okay? But you still have to write some resources, a deployment, a service, a route maybe. Well, with Knative, it's 7 lines of YAML. It's 1 line if you use the CLI, and just because of that, I really love Knative. And we will share that later. But people can test Knative right now if they want on the OpenShift Developer Sandbox. You can create an account for free for 30 days, then you can renew it, and you have a cluster, a Kubernetes cluster, an OpenShift cluster, and you have the Knative operator there ready to go. Okay, so maybe we can do a demo later. Let me see. Oh, we're pretty late already, so maybe not. But uh, um, I just want to finish on the Knative matter about eventing. What do you think about eventing? Will it, because now let's be honest, it's serving that is the most popular part of Knative. Eventing is also a really nice project. Do you see it getting more popular? Uh,
I think it's. Sorry, Alex, go.
No, Anna, go ahead, go ahead.
I think it's going to get more popular. I don't think. Yes, probably many of us have looked into the serving part. Sorry, more. But I think it's going to become more popular, especially since more and more people are like looking into managing event sources and doing event sourcing architectures. I know those are not easy. I thought that I mean, these type of architectures have been here for a while. Even microservices have been here for a while, and still we're debating recipes on how to make them better and how to have a better practice with it. So I think that eventing is something that we should keep an eye on and see how it evolves, because I think probably that's one of the next areas which is going to have some massive improvements from the Knative contributors. Go ahead, Alex.
No, yeah, I would say that I think that meanwhile with in Knative serving, people may see both of the things. I mean, that what Sari mentioned, that it's like, okay, you just have a minimal YAML file and you deploy everything is configured, and you get the scaling to 0, scaling to n, all these kind of things. With the eventing, I made the perception that people sees as another level of abstraction, right? So instead of sending an event and then in your Java code, for example, making a Kafka stream against a topic and then just process everything, right? Instead of doing this, they said, okay, yes, I know that I could use Knative eventing, but it's like adding a new layer of abstraction, right? It's like someone that received the event and then it sent it to my service, right? So for this reason, I think that it's really powerful because you're able to scale up and down depending on the amount of events that you are managing. So it's really powerful. But I don't know. I have this perception. Of course, I might be wrong, but and it might be the 2022 explosion of Knative eventing. But I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. If in the audience, if Gunnar is still there, if you have something to share, please, because I know you have been playing with it as well, and so anyway, so You know what? You wanted to mention another tool, Anna, about speaking about
Another
serverless?
technology,
Yeah.
also Cloud Native Computing Foundation one that I'm like taking a closer look nowadays because it's interesting from resilience point of view. So I had a talk earlier about resiliency, and I am looking into this one and trying to see this one as an alternative. It's Dapper.
Oh, Dapper.
So yes, Dapper for building also the reliable microservices and also for simplifying the microservice connectivity. It can be a very nice alternative to the ways of working that we're having currently with service meshes, probably, or with other tooling that's available there, like to achieve resilience and to work with the connectivity part of the microservices. And I believe that Dapper probably in 2022 is going to be even more getting more traction. Hope, because there's a kind of a strong community around it, and also as part of CNCF. So it's an important step for a project when it's becoming part of the big CNCF family, is gaining more visibility to the world, and also a community to support it and to work on it. So, and of course, there are a couple of talks, and I've seen in conferences around it about using it. So it seems that is more than just a hello world, and it's friendly for us as developers. So we'll see how it goes in 2022 with this one.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I'm checking the chat because a lot of stuff is happening there. I see that Bruno joined us as well.
And he wrote something about YAML.
Yeah, of course. Well, Gunnar confirming he's a fan of Knative. And he says, I think Knative service is how most devs should interact with Kubernetes. Yes, I remember I was in a call with Knative people and I asked them, do you think that at one point the Knative server will be integrated into Vanilla Cube, that instead of doing all those deployment services, well, we just have serving out of the box, but because that's the way we want to do it. But and there's a question from Bruno. He wants to know more about Camel K. So that's a good one because I discovered it this year. I started playing with it, and well, I can try to make the punchline. But so Camel K is based on Camel, the Apache Camel project that is about service integration patterns. Okay, and with Camel K, with YAML. Okay, there we come, Bruno, because it's true. With one YAML file, you can integrate different services. You just apply this YAML. I did a test. It really works. I did a small YAML that can, so there a Camel K component that can read a search term on Twitter, okay? And then it sends that back to a Telegram Camel K component and posts that on a Telegram group. And with zero code, really zero code, I was able just to apply this YAML file, and it's working. It's so these are these kind of crazy things that you can do. And Camel K was based. It's using heavily Knative under the hood, but I think they're trying to get more independent. Well, it's still using Knative, but they don't want to make it a Knative project. But Camel K, great stuff. I don't know if you, Alex and Anna, you play with it. I played with it because I probably accepted the talk where I was supposed to talk about Camel K. So I had to learn Camel K. That's how we work now, advocates, sometimes. Presentation-driven learning. Well, what I love to do, next week you have to do you remember, Alex, last year? Well, you have to give a deep dive about Tecton. We were at Alex learning about Tecton. But well, that's how it goes. There's another question, and I clicked on it without. Could we consider Dapper and Camel K two competing solutions to similar problems?
Well, I think that Dapper is more a competitor of Istio, maybe.
Yeah, Istio.
More than Camel K. I'm not saying that that can live both together, but I think that there are a lot of overlapping between Dapper and Istio, and not with Camel K, I guess, because Camel K is more at business level, and Istio and Dapper, I guess that it, well, at least I'm sure that Istio and Dapper, I guess that it's exactly the same thing. They work at infrastructure level. So I think that are different things.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know Dapper enough to we have a nice remark from Jean-François. Functions, he says, because Knative service serving is too low level for developers. Well, yeah, depends of if a developer knows how to make a container, that is all you need to know, and then it's really one line with the Knative CLI. But yeah, functions. Maybe we talk about servers, but functions as a service. Well, the FAS, is that going to break through to 2022? Honestly, I don't really have an opinion, a hard opinion on this, but no, you neither.
As neither.
Okay.
I mean, I don't, from my point of view, I would still go, when it comes to serverless, I would still go with Knative, because it would be something that would work in regardless of my, I don't know, offering, and regarding, because it's based on Kubernetes and should be achieving that portability. Also, yeah, I have some experience in the past with porting some serverless things with Terraform, and I don't want to dive into deep into that one. But yes, well, from my point of view, as long as we're using the tools that can help us to bring the projects live and to production, or to fix things as soon as possible, that's the greatest part ever. I mean, that's my take all the time. Use the tool that you know how to not only you can learn fast, and that can make you achieve your goal, not always like wait on something, because I've heard people saying that they wait for things to do implementations.
Yeah, and maybe to end with functions, and to make the junction with our first topic, that was Java, and also Quarkus. I put a link. There's a project. Honestly, I think maybe Alex, you play with it. I never play with it. Called Funky. Okay, and I just read the punchline. So Quarkus Funky is part of Quarkus serverless strategy and aims to provide a portable Java API to write functions deployable to various fast environments like Lambdas, Azure Functions, Knative events. So from what I understand, it's sort of abstraction to use function as a service with no adherence to the cloud provider. If I'm correct, I think that's the thing. But it's for Java word. But at least if you write your funky function, doesn't matter where you deploy it, where you're just like Knative doesn't matter about the cloud provider. But here we go into the function detail, and you can have the same behavior. So being agnostic of any cloud provider. So
yeah,
I haven't
let's
played.
say that. Yeah, I've done some, but just hello worlds and so on, so nothing super complex. But I would say that Funky makes your functions portable. So when management says, well, we're going to change from Amazon to Azure, and also the developer says, no, please don't change. But you know what? This happens. I mean, I will live this, right?
It happens for real, for big customers
happens.
that we have.
If you're using Knative, then you do not have this problem, because you just take your container from one place to another one. But if you're not using Knative, and you're, for example, have a vendor locking with, for example, Amazon Lambda, then you will need to migrate these Lambdas to Azure Functions. And then, well, probably if you're using Funky, then you get these abstractions, so you're making your functions portable.
Yeah, cool. And thank you, Bruno, for bringing up these discussions. And Tuni is commenting a lot. I Yeah, first was the push I've seen. Okay, let me see. Let me check the time. 10 minutes left. That went so fast, but we have still 10 minutes to discuss. Let's discuss 2022. So, what will be stuff that will be the real buzz in 2022? Maybe I can
Linux
launch
desktop. Linux desktop.
Linux. 2022 will be the year of Linux desktop. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, Tuni says AI and ML. So artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's been there for a while, and I'm not sure that a lot of developers are learning it or using it, or if company are using it. Probably yes. Is this something that might be even stronger next year? I don't know.
Yeah, I remember maybe, yeah, it was like 20 years ago that I was starting with neural networks, right?
Mm.
Um, and it was like, yeah, something that it was just in the university, right? And then nowadays, I mean, maybe the last 4 or 5 years, it's becoming popular, right? So it's like, okay, I could start studying them 5 years ago instead of 20 years ago, and then it will be easier to understand. So I think that it's something that has been around there for a long, long time. And yeah, now it's becoming more popular, but I don't know how many companies will require these
Yeah.
complexities. I don't know. Maybe maybe we are missing something. I'm not saying now,
Yeah.
but it's something that probably is not for developers. It will be more like specific data scientists or or mathematical people or yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
or maybe there will be at one point an abstraction layer that will make it easier for us developers to use it. You don't have to be a data scientist or really good in maths. So I'm neither of those, and yeah, to make it easier. And we could troll and say AI is just of machine learning is just a lot of data and a lot of if else. No, that's what we always. Yeah.
Speaking about trolling, I've seen a tweet from Gunnar in the weekend about Web3. I didn't know that. Yes, there was an interesting architecture in that tweet that was based on using Ethereum, I think, and it was an interesting approach mentioned there, and. Not sure how many people will adopt that, but I didn't know that that's called Web3, and like including the blockchain solutions in architectures that are for distributed systems in that level. We'll say only this: I tried something like that 4 years ago at a hackathon with a team. Let's just say that as we were like very happy very happy as engineers about what we did, we got a question from the possible end user, because we were all simulating at that hackathon, saying, what's the cost of this? And that's when things ended.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Yeah. Okay.
But keep an eye on Web3 and just and judge it.
Yeah, exactly.
And judge it closely. I mean, if it makes sense, of course, adopt it. But at that time, it didn't.
Yeah. I'm checking the comments because there are quite a lot of comments. Tony said no vendor locked in. Well, yeah. Is this something that will still happen in 2022? It's hard to say because cloud providers push for their own stuff, and then we have initiatives like Knative, and yeah, I don't know. Leslie mentioned monitoring and observation, which is a great point. So we already mentioned metrics, but yeah, I think monitoring and observation will become more and more important. It really must be part of our developer job, and I will include that. I don't know, Alex, you like that. I would love to see more chaos engineering, like that people really dare to do it, like injecting chaos in their infrastructure. We have a nice tool, Kubernetes, that reconcile everything. Trust your code, but check if your application is resilient enough. And yeah, that's my advice, people. Keep playing, inject chaos in your infrastructure. And then there was Jean-Francois, who was trolling a bit or not. Back to the monolith. Yeah. How, who knows? Who knows?
Sure, it depends with the back to the monolith. I still believe there's a place for monoliths in this architectural world. Like for any type of architecture, you adopt something based on your requirements. It's not like only a single type of architecture is going to solve every problem in this world, every IT problem in this world. And this is why we're using multiple tools as well, and we're not using only one. So maybe to some people it would mean back to the monolith if the distributed systems that they already tried are not working for them. But the way I see it also as a hybrid architectural world where things are coexisting, distributed and monolithic as well. Everything has a purpose, and this is also coming from my experience as an architect. It's not, there are requirements where a monolith would fit better, and where, as Alex is saying in his sessions, and I've heard him saying many times, we're all using a monolith, the Stack Overflow one. So and I believe we're very happy with that one. Let's keep that in mind, that great things can be achieved with monoliths as well.
And in France, we have a great example that monolith work really well. In Germany as well, but in France, the application, the website to book an appointment for your vaccination, called Doctolib, it was there for a long time, but it has a huge traffic, as you can imagine, especially when our president announced that you have to get your second shot or stuff like that. And it's a monolith. It's running in Ruby. It's a Rails app. One application.
I think this
but it's one application, one code base.
I think this proves that engineering skills are the ones that matter in the end. That as long as you are having the skills, you can build great stuff. It's and of course always reason on what you're building. It's not like go with the trends because they're nice.
And Alex, any last comment about the monolith?
No, as Anna said, that a Stack Overflow is a monolith, and if you check at the bottom of the page, you will see a number that maybe every 3-4 hours is being increased, and this is the version. So they are deploying to production, maybe several times per day, and it's a monolith. So it's not true that you need to adopt microservices to get several deployments to production per day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a great. Maybe we have 2 minutes, but you said they're deploying a lot. So we didn't talk about CI/CD, but GitOps started to get busy in 2021. Will it really break through in 2022? I believe so. With great tools like Argo CD and yeah. Again, we give the responsibility to the developer. You do a git push, and the whole magic happens. So, do you also think so?
I don't believe it's necessarily a responsibility, but a control that the developer has. So, and of course, yes, you push the code, but you also can roll back. So it's not like it's, you have control. That's what's important to be known, that you still have control, and there is a transparency in how the tools are working and what each tool is doing for each team member. So I think that's the most important thing. As long as the teams can have a good development practice and they can coexist together, I think they can achieve a lot of things, like deploy monoliths several times per day and also build awesome microservices and performance systems and have a good monitoring and observability. As long as everybody's getting along, I think that great things can be achieved.
Yeah. We are already reaching the end here. But what I wanted to mention before we end up is, well, Edson said that already, but next week we have we have three big events. On Tuesday, we have deep dives about Helm in French, Italian,
Romanian.
Spanish, Romanian. English was 2 weeks ago, I think so.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, we have DevNation Day India, okay, virtual, okay, and you are a host, I think, or you're giving a presentation. I don't know.
Yes, I'm giving a presentation. Edson is going to be a host.
Okay, yeah.
And there are going to be a lot of great presentations done by colleagues and guests. So I've seen a lot of topics that I would like to watch as well. This is one of the best things of attending these events, that you can get to see everything, especially when you're a moderator. You get to learn a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be DevNation Day India, the first time that the event is being done. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's great.
Yeah. And on Thursday, oh, thank you for the link. I don't know who put the link. Is it probably Edson? Maybe he's there. So
Watching over us.
because I didn't. And on the Thursday, we will have the tech talk where Edson is the host, and the topic I know it's Karan, the guest. I don't know the topic. I was trying to look for that. But again, if you go on developers.reddit.com/DevNation, you will have a lot of information there. All the stuff that is happening. Let me see if that is correct. If I give you this link, that you get everything. The site is a bit slow. There we go. Oh, yeah. And so I push you the link there. There we go. You can find everything there. Let me quickly share my screen, and then we will end up. So if you go there to redditdevelopers.reddit.com/DevNation, we after that, though, in 2 weeks we will have a winter break, okay, but you can start a winter camp now. So I really suggest you, we have a different learning curves where you can play with our tutorials, etc. I will leave it to you to click on it, because we have a really nice, like, a game. Well, anyway, deep dives Helm, as I told you. Tech talk details are not there yet, and we will be back for the show next year. Okay, so everyone, and oh, yeah, Alex, Anna, thank you so much for joining. Thank you everyone on the chat. There were quite a lot of interaction, and I love that. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Jean-Francois. Thank you, Gunnar. Thank you, Leslie. Stefan was there, but he left. That was great. That was
Bruno and
I really love to when people are reacting and we can react on topics, and yeah. So
Yes, Stefan also.
yeah. So
Gunnar. Yeah.
yeah. And so people, next week, still great stuff to that will happen, and then a small break, and next year we are back with, of course, the show, other deep dives, other great stuff. So stay tuned. I wish everyone a really happy break. Please stay safe, and yeah, I hope you will spend some time with your family and relax and rest. We all need it. It has been some rough months for everyone, and well, we all deserve some rest. So again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Anna. Thank you
you.
everyone on the audience.
thank you.
And speak to you later.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you.
Let me press the right button. There we go.